Well, welcome to the hot dish. You're in the what's cooking in the hot dish is our
What's cooking in the hot dish? Pork and sauerkraut.
You've got dinner going already?
Yeah. I got it. So I use a Dutch oven for a lot of my winter cooking, and right now I've got it's one of my favorite recipes. It's apples, onions, sauerkraut, and like a bed of that with bacon in it. You of course fry it all in bacon grease, and then you have pork tenderloins that you kind of nestle into it.
That sounds delicious.
It's
like
really
the perfect
tasty.
Comfort food.
Oh yeah, I forgot about all the honey and mustard. Yeah, honey and mustard, salt, pepper, etc. But then you bake it for a long time, and then it's absolutely delicious. It's sweet. It's got that savory aspect to it. I love cooking. I am the cook in my house, and I enjoy it quite a bit.
That's awesome. Well, what's cooking in the hot dish is usual rhetorical questions. So
I know.
Thank you for answering it.
But
completely literally.
You're welcome either way.
Yeah.
We could talk about it in the hot dish.
It's hot dish time. All right.
What was that little gesture?
I don't know. Yeah, so this is our...
Jay, you have panache. Right?
Yes. This is our hot dish.
We don't have a catchphrase yet.
We don't... for
What's
hot dish?
cooking in the hot dish today?
Oh, that's good. This is, I should probably introduce you. This is Tyler, the GM and host of the other Minnesota-based Pathfinder Second Edition.
Oh,
Real
there's
Play podcast.
more than two of us, man. There's a handful, a good healthy handful of us.
This state is full of gamers for sure.
We have a history. The
show is titled MNMAXED, MNMAXED, MNMAXED podcast. You know, it's funny, there's another MNMAXED show. You probably know this already. And I was all set to be mad at them. It's MNMAXED. I'm like, oh, they stole the name. And I looked it up, and they came out a year earlier than me.
Funny story about that, actually. When I first... So we came up with MNMAXED back in 2015, actually, when we were still playing. David had his girlfriend at the time make our logo, which is what we're still using to this day. So, wow, that was so long ago. Anyways, we never actually did anything with it. Yeah, because we did our first recording was this old module called Broken Chains for first edition.
Okay.
And it was a single microphone at the center of a table. Like, if you really listen to the very first Critical Role, like what they did, that's what they had. It was just a microphone in the middle of the table. They had the bravery to release that. We listened to it and we're like, nah, that's so bad.
Well, I do want to get into the origins of the show and all that. I'm absolutely dying of curiosity.
Oh, yeah,
because it was a while ago.
I am going to go off topic all the time. You're going to need to wrangle me during this conversation.
No, okay. Let me get something straight. There are no rules in the hot dish.
Sweet.
I know that's contrary to how you run your game, that tight ship of scripted, rehearsed podcast material. But here in the hot dish, Tyler, no rules.
No rules. Cool. I like that. That's great because I put sauerkraut in my hot dish. Oh, geez.
Yeah. I mean, I have a question. Whatever. We can talk about whatever you want. Yeah. But you described the other day when we chatted initially. You described your game as a beer and pretzels game. Tell me what that means to you.
Well, that's kind of the vernacular that I've pulled off of conversations that have popped up in regards to podcasts in the very early stages. We're talking the 20-teens when before the big hitters really entered the scene. Before even Acquisitions Inc. We're talking like. MP3 RPG or RPG MP3, I think was one of them. But like when you're talking about recording games, the style of games correlates pretty strongly what you're listening to, I should say. The style of pod correlates pretty strongly with the style of table. And we've always associated ourselves with the beer and pretzel style table, which is discourse that exists from well before podcasting. But yeah, because we've always just been, for us, it was we all worked together for the most part. And it was a way for us to not get together, hang out, and not talk about or think about work in any way. Because inevitably, when you get a bunch of work friends together, the one thing you have in common is work. You just talk about work. And then you stop being friends with those people outside of work because you're like, wow, I don't want that in my life outside those 40 hours of the week. So, we shuffled it to RPGs and it's great. Works great.
I mean, to me, it's like, okay, you're almost recording like a table of friends.
That's
right? Like
always been
you're
the
just sticking a
intention.
microphone. Yeah, right there. And it reminds me of the way, I don't know, it sounds terrible, maybe pejorative, but it reminds me of the way we played when we were in middle school.
That's kind of,
we're just ragging on each other. And
also
like,
the intention. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we agreed upon very early on when the five of us, we started out as a much larger group. When we whittled down over the years to the five of us, David, who had always wanted to do a podcast, threw the microphone in the center of the table when we did it that one time a decade ago. When it finally occurred, he was like, hey, guys, do you want to do this? And it was a conversation that took about maybe 2 or 3 game sessions to have because it would happen while we were playing is what happened. In the middle, and that was when we were playing, I think at the time, it's Tyrant's Grasp. We were playing through Tyrant's Grasp, and we thought, let's just record ourselves playing Tyrant's Grasp. Let's see if we like it, wherever we were, and we'll go from there. And when we did, Ted and Spencer had the largest problem with like being on recording. They were like, okay, you guys had fun, but what's going to be different when we hit the recording button?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we made the agreement very much to be nothing changes. Our game doesn't change. How we talk to each other doesn't change. David will, of course, in post, go through and take away some things that we'd rather not have on the airwaves, whether it's, personal things or
Wait. So this is the heavily edited.
Oh, David has always been a very heavy. Yes, that is part of he runs that narrative. That's the agreement that he and I have. I run the narrative at the table. He gets to run the narrative at the editing table. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, especially when you compare it to like Critical Role or something, right? Where it's, especially now, it's like super. It feels almost like a radio drama.
Well, and they knew what needed to be done, and I respect the entire group for it. I mean, first of all, they are primarily actors or thespians in some way,
yes.
Right? So they already have that under their belt, but they also understood the need to shift what they had as their home game in order to make it something palatable to in what would eventually be millions of people, because millions of people don't listen to my style of game because we're playing the game and we're having fun with the game
right.
and each other.
Right.
They are intentionally crafting a narrative which can reach broadly a larger group of people. And it's not difficult to grasp the concept of D&D from an outsider. I'm not playing its perspective. You know what I mean? They roll some dice when they want to do a thing. DM says whether it happens or not. They tell stories. I'm crying about fake characters. It's a good time, right? So I understand why they shifted both from Pathfinder and from being a mechanically heavy table. It leans into their strengths, and obviously it worked out really well for them.
No, for sure. And it's not my jam. And
Me neither. I don't find myself watching other people's games. Even as much as I enjoy the community, I have a hard time listening long term to some of my community mates' games as well. I love showing support for them, and I frequently will, like on a personal level through like Patreon or what have you. And I try to engage in the very early parts of these stories when they happen when they happen. But I always fall off because I am not the type of person that listens to what I do. Let's just put it that way.
No, it's funny because I started listening obsessively to shows. I think that's what got me interested in doing it. I mean, there's many reasons, but so I actually listened to your show, although I'm only 90 episodes into the Extinction Curse campaign.
that's okay. That's there's
2 weeks of my life.
so much
Listening to your show.
content there. If you enjoy it, there's so much there. And
Yeah.
Bloodlords turns and takes our table dynamic and cranks it up to an 11. So I think you'll enjoy that if you like the circus.
No, I realize Bloodlords is like the absolute perfect campaign for your
100%.
table.
I loved every moment of
Real
it.
quick, just to give, I'm sure people who are listening to this know you more than my show, but a couple of things that happened that struck me that would you'd be not appalled, but shocked if they happened on Critical Role. Players falling asleep during the session. Players
Has totally happened.
I know it has. It's so funny. I'm like, I'm not gonna call Ted out here, but it was hilarious. Players
man.
barely restrained from murder hoboing. Okay,
Yeah.
Players giving the GM like absolute shit the whole time.
Oh, I love it. It's part of our dynamic.
Right? No, it is hilarious. Like,
Glad you like it.
I think it took me a couple episodes to be like, whoa, this is cranky, and then realize it's sort of comedic genius.
It's kind of nice. I wouldn't call it comedic genius. Let's put it this way:
Well.
if you end up
It's a genius of some kind.
If you end up in the MNMAXED Discord, it's because you've gotten past that speed bump that you just talked about, and that means you're my kind of people, and you're welcome. I didn't do this to make money or gain a huge following. It just kind of isn't. It's a happy byproduct of my hobby.
I guess how I describe the play is barely restrained chaos.
Yes.
And I love it. It's funny. It's like you never know how the players are going to react to the NPCs. And a lot of times it feels like they react to the NPCs based on how their day went that day. Right?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely, without a doubt.
So, yeah, I mean, that to me is the real part of it, right? It's the actual players' personalities, cranky personality, everything. It does feel like a group of friends sitting around playing this game, in response to whatever. Like I mean, it's interesting where you guys met. I don't know if you want this on the show or not, but you all worked in the same call center,
sure,
right?
yeah, you can
Back when?
throw this out. They just fired like everybody in the U.S., so I hold no love for this company whatsoever.
Right. It's like one of the worst jobs you could have, right?
Okay, yeah, it is. But you know what? I
fielding
can't
calls
speak for
from-
my whole team. So let's just put it this way. We worked as technical support in a call center for a major cell phone carrier. Let's just, leave it at that.
Which sounds to me like you need a good game of Pathfinder when you're done.
Oh, absolutely.
So you've been the first episode I went and found was like 2020, Fall of Plaguestone, right? Was that the first recorded campaign you guys did?
Oh, Fall of Plaguestone was the first one that we officially released. And
Okay.
despite all of this that I've discussed so far about us actually having tested this, we tested these waters twice in the years leading up to it. Fall of Plaguestone, we decided for whatever reason, all the nervous energy we had about it, we're like, okay, we have a short campaign. Let's just hit it quick and hard, right? And we picked up, I had the core rule book in my hand the day before we began recording, right? And I just digested, and this was everybody at the table, so we kind of separately digested what we could, but we recorded within a day. I think it was 24 hours after, somewhere in there. It was a ridiculous turnover of the rules coming out, and then we were like, hey, we're learning the system, we're going to teach it to you while we're doing it. Which is so funny. When I look back on it, it would have made a ton of sense. It still makes a ton of sense to, if I were back then, I would have done the same thing. Downside I see is that the remastered Pathfinder 2nd Edition is not the same game that we played when we played Fall of Plaguestone. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the chassis of the system hasn't changed at all, but the little bits that keep it together and keep it running smoothly have absolutely been tightened, if you will.
The words used to describe things, right? Flat-footed versus off-guard. I mean, all those things add up.
Even
I
beyond
know it was very
that.
frustrating for my group, to switch.
Even beyond the naming convention is a whole nother beast, but even just like how Death and Dying works, for example, we were working on before the very first errata Death and Dying rules, and I don't recall the specifics. It occasionally invades my psyche when we're playing now, but it's very punishing, right? And we ended up playing the playtest beforehand, before the actual release, and again, for the most part, a good chunk of the chassis was the same, though there were some massive differences in the playtest.
I'm trying to remember what the original rule was for Death and Dying, 'cause I remember that vaguely too. Was there one?
I don't remember, Jay, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to try my best not to fully remember it so that it doesn't invade my current headspace for when we're playing the game.
I know. So I think I'm running 4 or 5 games right now, and Barbarians feature heavily. All of them we started before the remaster for all of them. So the Barbarians, like, okay, well, halfway through the game, you can rebuild your Barbarian if you want with a free action to rage.
I was going to say, and then the Barbarian loved everything about the game after that moment in time. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then came Extinction Curse.
Yes.
I also saw you have Return of the Rune Lords podcast. Is that that still going on?
That's
now?
an interesting story, but let's talk about Extinction Curse first, though.
Yeah. So I'm running that. That's how I found the podcast.
Extinction Curse?
What's a good Extinction Curse podcast? Yeah.
That's actually a really common thing. Yeah, we definitely hear that. And to be really upfront with you, most of the type of people that I've run into is like the listeners of these types of podcasts. They range a gamut of personalities, but a lot of them are really just interested in hearing, like, what was another group's take on this adventure?
Right.
Like, I played through this adventure or I ran this adventure. What is their take on it? And again, that's in addition to I want to run it, I want to see how other people are doing it mentality. So it's definitely it's a feedback loop to an extent.
And you started that game, the Extinction Curse, before the AP was fully published, right? I think.
Oh yeah.
You were running it as the books were coming out.
Yep.
So
it's not something I would suggest to anybody. Yeah. Not something I would suggest to anybody necessarily. Okay, sorry. Let me take that back. It's not something I would suggest to anybody attempting to do a podcast.
Record a podcast.
Yeah. If you're aiming to make sure that your story is cohesive from A to Z, you want to know exactly where it goes and all the beats between, because as a long-time Paizo consumer going through these adventure paths for a long time, it happens a lot. We get excited for an adventure path. We get in right at the ground floor of it, and I know it's a good story. It's a great arc that is being broadcast in the first book, and occasionally it just falls off somewhere in the middle because of unforeseen, hooks or things that are just not as interesting as you had hoped they would be.
I've seen complaints about the way Paizo puts out the APs where they have different authors almost writing concurrently a lot of these books, so threads don't carry through the books, things like that. With Extinction Curse, it's one of the games that gets hammered on pretty frequently, right? Mainly because the circus diminishes in importance after the second book.
Absolutely.
Why even bother, right?
Why even bother having it in there?
Yeah, and the mini game, running the circus, is actually pretty complicated.
It's interesting. We actually ended up with a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet that just handled that we like. I think Swanee built it or somebody got it somewhere. I don't remember, but it could have been a community asset that somebody from Reddit put up. But it essentially took care of all the brain work that was involved with the math that was, went into it. And we did find that I think the biggest complaint they had is strictly from a gamist standpoint. What were you going to do with the gold that you made from the performances? It's not like you were intended to dip into that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to pay much. Like, it doesn't seem to benefit the party much at all. Although I had an individual payout for the performers, depending upon the success of the circus. So they actually earned gold from the show.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But, Yeah, it was. It wasn't. Still, it was like a long. We took half a session. It takes like an hour or two to run, and then what? It doesn't advance the plot. It's so in a way, it was ambitious, but also didn't. Anyways, here I am. I'm slamming the AP. It didn't seem to bother you guys at all. Like
no, not
it felt like your table was really into the combat and killing monsters, right? And that this whole circus thing was this great flavor for it.
Yeah.
I love the characters. Everyone talks about Peach Pie, right? I think Peach Pie is like this famous character in the Reddit world. The clown barbarian with his like his big mallet,
the big mallet,
the steak bashing mallet. Yeah. But Swanee's Moonlight was amazing. He, like the leader.
I loved what he did with
the
Moonlight,
circus.
Moonlight.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a different character.
I've been playing too much Marvel Rivals lately. No, Moonlight. I loved what Swanee did because he did two big things, going from I'm recording myself playing this game to, I'm playing this game to I'm recording myself playing this game. He never used to do voices. He never put a lot of thought into his backstories. Well, no, I take that back. Swanee was the guy who wrote pages of things to give backstories, but he would always want to like have it be trickled out slowly when he did it. He never voiced those characters, and a lot of times him and I worked to bring things out during sessions. It would not be far off base to say that, that it surprised the hell out of me that he chose to not only do a voice, but to do a voice for a gendered individual.
Yeah, and that was cool. And Jeb is Spencer playing Jeb was hilarious. Like, as I'm listening, I'm like, he hates everything about this game, and then he totally gets into it at the same time. It's like this, it's hilarious. And then he hates every NPC, but if any animal was in distress, Spencer would freak out.
He was right on.
Does he really like animals in real life?
He loves animals in real life. He is a huge teddy bear. He's not like crazy cat lady. He has, 10 cats in his life. He does have a cat. His cat's name is in fact Turtle, but he loves Turtle.
Awesome.
Oh, he loves that cat.
Did.
That's why he was. Yeah.
So if any of these characters die, don't tell me now, because I'm only at book 3.
Oh boy, you're only in book 3. That's right.
Yeah. Well, no.
90.
I'm sorry. I finished book 3. I'm in start of book 4.
Ooh, oh wow. Okay. Yeah, you're in for a trip. You're in for a trip. I know you mentioned earlier that like a lot of people give the Extinction Curse a lot of flack. One thing that I kind of wanted to say, like in the other side of it, because it doesn't lend to the narrative or the plot necessarily. No, it is the lead-in point for it, but it is there for groups who want to take advantage of it to take advantage of it. And with what advantage there is to be had is from an RP standpoint.
Exactly.
Yeah. And just an occasional injection of flavor and color, because every book had performers to recruit,
In the game I'm running, I treat it as sort of a wandering village, their home base, where they can go back to, and they have merchants at the circus, and they can buy and sell goods, and they can get advice from the professor or whatever. So I don't know. I hear the criticisms, but I love Paizo's APs, with all their warts and stuff. This is coming from 5e. They are so well written.
So you actually played 5e then?
Yeah.
I think I actually only got, I want to say, I made a single or 2 characters in 5e, and we played through maybe 3 or 4 sessions, and the vast majority of our group, the guys that as the podcast now, wanted nothing to do with it. Yeah, we didn't enjoy 5e as a game at all, really. And it had more to do with the character option depth more than it did than anything. But like, for example, my wife went and was going to play a game with some friends. some work friends, and I was like, absolutely, yeah, do it. It's a great thing to do. You know, of course, I'm expounding all of the positive reasons to do it. And she was given a player's guide, a 5th edition player's guide to bring home. And this was a few years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I started reading through it, and I started noticing a lot of little things that that added up really quickly. It wasn't just the shallowness of the characters. It was also the inconsistency of the challenge rating system, the complete lack of consideration on currency and how to apply it in games, or how magic weapons applied to the curve of power. Clearly it's there, but what play does it have within the system between levels 1 to 20? It's up to the GM to figure it out. So as I was going through it, I'm like, I would hate to run this game. I played in it,
yes.
But as I was reading it from a, my GM brain standpoint, I was like, this looks like it would suck to run. So anyways,
it's difficult.
What's your opinion?
That's why I started playing Pathfinder. I was running. I was running 2 games in 5e. I was running a Strahd game and Storm Giant's Thunder, something like that.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar. I can picture the cover
they were just
in my head.
It was very difficult. I had to basically create everything like maps and counters because both of them are semi-open world, but they don't account for leveling up. So Strahd is like all the different areas of the world are appropriate for like level 8 characters.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're level 2, good luck. And if you're level 12, it's a snooze fest.
Right.
So yeah, that took, both of them took a lot of work, and I was spending, and this isn't for podcasts or whatever, just for a general session. I was spending 4 hours of prep each week, on each adventure,
week?
just to prep for it. Yeah.
That's a lot.
And the encounter rating is difficult. Getting monster stat blocks was difficult. There were so many barriers to doing it well. And what you said, I mean, I didn't even realize that you could have, like Pathfinder does, this balanced narrative about how to build power over the course of a campaign.
Yeah.
Right? Like how much treasure should you drop per level?
Exactly.
There's that was a revelation to me that you could have a table for that.
Yeah.
Right? So when
I learned that there wasn't a table, I was
amazing.
flabbergasted by that.
But you can take an Paizo AP, import it to Foundry, the PDF to Foundry, right? And then start running it like in an hour.
It takes almost no actual upfront work aside from reading the adventure itself. Yeah, it's great.
Exactly. And I know there are warts, like Extinction Curse is a good example, but you could run it right out of the box. And I know you changed a bunch of stuff. You had the Cursed Dagger, which was amazing.
Sorrow.
As your party showed, you could run through that rollicking, destroying monsters, like totally ragging on the inconsistencies and the highfalutin NPCs demanding you make side quests that you don't want to go
absolutely.
on.
The whole time they
have
had
a
fun.
ball, right?
Yeah, the whole time they had fun. And it was definitely what I enjoyed about it. And I'll take a moment to kind of do this in 2 ways. What I enjoyed about it is it gave that really hard flavor injection right up front with all of the ridiculousness that comes with it. And the entire premise is ridiculous right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Circus performers saving the Starstone Isles? Why? Absalom's right there. The Pathfinder Society's right there. Just go talk to those dudes.
It was a revelation when you did the interview with one of the game writers to find out that was a trope, right? At some point, right? Like, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love
it.
talking to Jason Tondro. Dr. Tondro is one of the most interesting gentlemen to talk to. In a similar vein, and I want to touch back on this before we just leave the 5e bashing. We just like beat that dead horse as if it hasn't been beaten and then move on. I will say that there are upsides to that game as well. In fact, the fact that there is no direct codified balance allows for GMs to have the type of control to tell the narrative story they want to play. And sometimes that does mean a bunch of level 2 players running into something that they just need to be running from, right? No matter what they do. And some people love those types of stories, and I'm not one to fault them. I think one of the biggest reasons that I tend to go with something that's more codified from a personal standpoint is that I don't have time for that anymore. You know, I have a child, you know, I got my house to care for, my wife to care for, everything, right?
Some hot dish to cook.
Yeah, some hot dish to cook. You know, I love cooking, and I generally also like taking my time with it too, you know? So being able to reclaim time as a GM, you know, a lot of prep time and uncertainty time by just allowing Pathfinder to take it off of your shoulders was a really big boon.
Yeah, totally. 100% agree. Now, I did stumble upon an AMA you did on Reddit.
Oh,
and
boy.
you have played a bunch of other systems. Yeah. Did my research, man. Come on.
Yeah, you did.
And
you did.
But you stuck with Pathfinder, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about Pathfinder that GURPS or some other, the Apocalypse? What's Powered by the Apocalypse or whatever system?
Powered by the
that you tried out,
Apocalypse.
yeah.
I know there's an acronym for it. I'm not a huge fan of acronyms in general when I'm talking, right, about it. But yeah, Powered by the Apocalypse games. What is it about Pathfinder in particular?
Yeah, why'd you stick with that? Why haven't you branched out to other games or tried other things? I mean, you've been playing Pathfinder as a podcast for 5-6 years, even longer if you include all those unreleased. By the way, when you guys get big and famous and get your Oscar, you're gonna have to do the Dylan thing and the basement tapes.
Yeah, the B-sides, MNMAXED B-sides. They're no good. Sorry, y'all. Lucky you can understand half the people at the table. No, if I'm to really think about it, it's a combination of three things. It's my roots as a tabletop player. I started really game mastering in like 2001 or 2002, and that was with third edition, D&D third edition, right? 3.5 was the first edition where I owned all of the core books and attempted to, mow enough lawns and stuff to, own beyond that. But
I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in.
Sure.
I want to paint a picture here.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking? High school, junior high school?
High school.
And you're playing with friends in a basement, right?
Yeah. Okay. It was in a kitchen, in a trailer out in the middle of nowhere in the country, a little tiny town of like 400 people. Are you
Minnesotan?
Yep.
Was here in the state?
Yep. Okay. Southern Minnesota. I think the house we primarily played at was in a little town called Claremont.
Wind whistling on the winter nights.
Yeah.
Big snow drifts up against a trailer.
They got the wind barrier with the trees, they're amongst the fields. But the Owatonna was where my buddy's cousins lived there, and they had a game shop in Owatonna. So we would go there to pick up books.
God, yeah. I miss stuff like that.
Game shops? Yeah, that aren't legacy game shops?
No, there are plenty here, but I mean in little towns.
In little
like that,
towns, yeah. That's not something you see anymore at all.
Or something, yeah.
No. You have to go to a city for that, most certainly. Because if you want to buy a game, why wouldn't you just Amazon it to yourself,
Right.
Or
exactly.
Order it online, whatever the case is. But anyways, I digress.
So you bought 3.5.
3.5 was the first system that I lived within. And I lived inside of 3.5 for a long time. When the announcement for 4th edition came out, I felt like a kid all over again, right? And I was like, okay, let's do this, a new edition. And I got it, and I dug into it, and I was like, what is this? I don't want it. Take it back. In hindsight, it's super interesting in hindsight that the D&D 4th edition actually there's some inspiration that Pathfinder 2nd edition takes from D&D 4, but that's an entirely different conversation considering the way that writers between Wizards and Paizo has worked over the last decade, 2 decades. They crossed all over all the time. Logan Bonner was involved with D&D 5, and Bonner was a huge set for Pathfinder 2nd edition, and that cross-contamination is clear if you've read both core books. Read them back-to-back sometime. You'll see it. It's plain as day, right? But as far as where I wanted to go when 4th edition came out, I wanted a new edition because I had that excitement, you know. It was right there, but it wasn't sated. And then, of course, Paizo did Pathfinder 1st edition, which was essentially 3.75, 3.x. There was a lot of colloquial terms for what it was, and it was essentially 3.5, but tightened very well, and played that for 10 years.
So when you guys started playing together at the call center, did everyone else play Pathfinder 1, or did you introduce it to them?
I introduced it to them.
Had they played RPGs before, TTRPGs?
Yeah, depending on who it was. You know, Ted, for example, is an avid math gamer. In my opinion, one of Ted's favorite things to do in the very early days of me introducing him to the system was to come up with a concept and then just break the ever-living shit out of it. And he did it so well. He was great at making min-maxed characters, but he would do that with video games too, right? So he was at home.
I'm going to do a quick tangent on Ted here. I did trash him a little bit for falling asleep during the Extinction Curse campaign, but he was on it for the rules and spells. He built a wizard character called the Wiz, which was hilarious, like this hippie wizard. But he knew exactly how to play the hell out of that character. So really fascinating character person in your show. But anyways,
he's narrative, like he is this veil between the space that the rules exist in and where the narrative space and how the rules are attempting to translate physics and, you know, biology and all of these rules of the real world into a game system. Yeah. And he's very good at crossing from what he wants to do into the other. I think of so many examples off the top of my head, but I don't think you're to them yet. So I'll let you figure it out once Wizard gets access to high level magic, because that's when things get wacky.
Oh, man.
But anyways, to go back to the original question, Pathfinder was a derivative of D&D 3.5. And after 10 years of playing 3.5 and trusting it, and, you know, again, trying other systems, but eventually always falling back to Pathfinder during that time, when 2nd edition came out, Paizo just had my trust at that point, to be honest. They kept the thing I loved about tabletops alive in the system that they made for it, and when they decided to essentially start fresh, for the most part, there's still some holdovers, but, you know, we don't have to spend 2 hours talking about Vancian casting.
Right.
But I just trusted Paizo to do it. And you had mentioned earlier, adventure paths, and having the stat blocks there or easily accessible for free online. The barriers are just not there when you're playing a Paizo product for the most part. For all those reasons, that's why.
And on Foundry, where you can get all the stat blocks, just drag it onto the map. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep,
it's great. That's not something I get from other games. So I guess, that's the answer of why I stick with Pathfinder.
Starfinder 2nd edition? You going to play that?
I'd love to. If my table would love to. Every time we talk about it, Spencer's like, have fun with that. He doesn't want to play it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's hilarious. We do like an Odd Job thing. We have this Patreon show called Odd Jobs where we play short adventures. I definitely want to do some Starfinder one-shots and adventures. So,
oh gosh, don't get me wrong.
I'll have to give you a call and be like,
yeah, I would love to. I love playing games with other people. It's why I still do this after so long. I think Starfinder's great. What we had a hard time with, what our real first exposure to it was Starfinder 1st edition. And 1st edition was some people are going to roast me for even suggesting something like this. But at the end of the day, 1st edition was half-baked on first print. It's an unfortunate thing. It was rushed to an extent, and it kind of filled a space in the release schedule that wasn't intended to fill. It just was really popular, and I absolutely see why. The one thing that my table loves about Starfinder is the setting and the story and the lore, right? Like the system itself, the solar system that it takes place in is just, the Pact World system is fascinating, right? And of course, in classic Paizo fashion, throw so many options at character creation. Why wouldn't you? There's aliens. What's there not to love about that? It's pretty great.
There's so many too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Starfinder 1.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, and there are absolutely arguments to be had that Starfinder 1 is a perfectly fine game on its own. And I, for the most part, don't disagree with that. I just think that if they had intended to create that system, as soon as they started to make that system, it would have been different right from the get-go. That's just my opinion, though.
I've never played Starfinder 1. I've listened to a bunch of podcasts for the rules and stuff. It does seem... Actually, no, I did play. I played at Con of the North. I played at a Starfinder table.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love Con of the North.
Yeah. Do you go?
I went before the virus times. I haven't reacclimated myself to con society yet, though.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to do to go. I don't know, it'd be fun. I don't know if we ever get listenership. It'd be fun to do like a live show there or something.
Gosh,
we should do a GM panel or something.
It'd be fun. I'm sure you gotta get people to show up.
Yeah. Well, no, you got them captive in that place, right, where it's like 20 below out. And,
where outside
what
is
else
a bad
are they gonna
idea,
do, right?
and you're like, okay, I guess we're in this hotel convention room. I guess we might as well listen to these folks.
Yeah, exactly, right. Con of the North is great. It's tiny, probably compared to some of the. I've never been to an enormous one, but
Con of the North is like
small.
that. Skullcon is like that too, but there's. I would even call there are offshoots of PaizoCon that are like that to a degree. I did PaizoCon, actually the most recent quote con I did was PaizoCon, but really it was just while PaizoCon was going on, a local game shop just had scores of games running at the same times as PaizoCon was going, and just went to that. It was fun. Enjoyed myself.
Another reason I love game shops is the social aspect.
Yeah,
the community.
It was Fox's Den actually in Burnsville.
Oh, okay.
That I went to, and I said that very vaguely, thinking, oh, there's no way that Jay would know, but no, you actually might. Yeah, Fox's Den in Burnsville. If you haven't heard of it, it's a great.
I have heard of it, but I've never been out there.
It's a great shop. I absolutely love it. There's tons of space for the game boards, and they have a just quaint little cafe in the corner too of it as well. Great place.
Talk to me about some of the other games. So, we talked about Extinction Curse.
Yep.
Talk to me about the Return of the Rune Lords game and Blood Lords. Are those both current? Is the Return? I know Blood Lords is. Yeah. Is Return of the Rune Lords also a current game?
So, I thank you for bringing it up. I've never. Well, okay, I have. I suppose I have officially addressed it technically in a video that I put out not too long ago. But essentially, the story with Return of the Rune Lords, if you're looking it up in the pod sphere, whatever your podcatcher is, it's Mithril Dragon Wagon. And essentially what that was supposed to be was a continuation of our own home version of the Rune Lords trilogy. But, of course, that was before we were recording when we played Rise of the Rune Lords and then Shattered Star. But I wanted to kind of tell the side story of the first two entries by having this tag along story that was happening simultaneously. Now, for a lot of different reasons, that show is now defunct. Well, defunct might be the wrong word. Indefinite hiatus. We added another cast member, and things don't always work out, I guess is all I can say. It's all I really feel comfortable saying, I suppose. Still are in great, we're still, I'm still in great terms with the cast member we have a really hard time getting together for things. But, anybody who plays tabletops knows that scheduling is the real boss at the end of the dungeon. And it just kind of fell apart, unfortunately.
You also have a Patreon show. I want to talk to you about this.
Sure.
The Looming Tower. This is a homebrew game.
Yes.
So you're writing this.
I am.
And it has a, tell me about it. I read about it, but I want to hear it from you.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
give me the premise of the show.
Do you want me to talk about Bloodlords first? Before I go into that
one?
one?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no. Yeah, talk
It's
about
okay.
Bloodlords. Yeah.
My life is Looming Tower right now, so I'll spend plenty of time talking about that and then completely forget about Bloodlords.
Give me a 30-second pitch for Bloodlords.
So-
and let's just say I'm going to eat that up as soon as I'm done with Extinction Curse, because I know your cast will make amazing evil characters.
Yeah.
All right, go.
Yeah. So the Bloodlords game is, if you're unfamiliar with what the premise behind the Bloodlords adventure path is, Bloodlords takes place in the country of Geb, that is ruled by the Ghost King of the same name, Geb. And you are either living, who are referred to as the Quick, or the dead living in Geb. And as you start the adventure, you get tangled in with part of their noble class called the Bloodlords. And a local Bloodlord, picks you out to do a job. And you become embroiled in the politics of an undead nation. It's
Yes.
phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. David plays a vampire summoner. Swanee plays a rogue hobgoblin ghost with extra hate for people who worship Zon Kuthan. Let's see. I think Spencer plays the only living. And it's just a human who's hanging out with the vampire and the skeleton. And yeah, so Ted plays a skeleton cleric named Arius, who is, much like the Wiz, is his own just bundle of chaos. So yeah, it's a great game. This is always interesting with us, and when we talk to people about it, that game for me is a year behind me. For you guys, it's still releasing every week. We generally play for about 4 to 5 hours on Friday nights, and David will take that one session, that weekly session, and cut it into 2, potentially 3 episodes. So us playing the game and releasing it, there's just this huge gap between it at this point. Now that we've done all of Extinction Curse and now all of Bloodlords, still releasing Bloodlords. Mind you, we're getting to the end of it. It's getting real close. There's actually some big fun betrayals coming up real soon.
Oh, boy. All right, talk to me about the Looming Tower.
Okay, so the Looming Tower, long story short, the impetus for the Looming Tower was I find myself now in a place where my son doesn't need as much attention as he used to because he's a teenager. In fact, wants nothing to do with me most of the time, and that's all right. He's his life. He can live it. So I had recently quit an IT job that I had for a long time that I highly just did not like. I didn't enjoy it. Didn't like where the IT field was going. So I hopped ship into something a little bit different. And now I do gig work. I'm a stagehand. I set up arena venues for touring shows, like I've done recently. Maroon 5 came through. I've done Iron Maiden. Kendrick Lamar's tour was tons of fun to set up and tear down. Metallica. Anyways, so that's what I do now. Have a lot more fun with it.
Dude, your t-shirt collection must be
I have
amazing.
so many t-shirts, dude. It's not even funny. I'm running out of space for t-shirts. Let's put it that way. But anyway, so I found myself with more time than I had had in a very, very long time. And I wanted to return to something that I hadn't had a chance to do since before my son was born, which was like do homebrew games, come up with the story and everything myself. So I resolved to do that because I now am in a position where I have an actual audience as well. I thought to myself, why don't I knock out 2 birds with 1 stone? I've always wanted to write a book too. I wouldn't consider myself a great writer by any sense of the imagination, but I think I can do adventure writing, right? So I thought that this is going to be my 2 birds, 1 stone. So I'm writing an adventure. all on my own.
Okay.
So it's taking
Oh,
a
wait,
long
so this
time.
adventure will be like a
1 to 20.
like an AP, your own.
Yep.
Okay.
An AP adventure
Go.
path, 1 to 20.
Nice.
Technically level 0 to 20.
Okay. So wow. Okay.
That's
so is it
how I
like
got
kind of the old school original D&D where you send a bunch of books into a dungeon and whoever survives becomes your party?
Kind of has it's a little bit of both. So from a game standpoint, I'm not getting to the narrative yet. We're still talking game standpoint. I really like meat grinder dungeons to an extent. I've always loved the idea of the challenge, and my players, for the most part, agree with me on this. One of the best parts about this game, especially second edition, is that the satisfaction of overcoming a challenge and an encounter, either with tactics or a mix of tactics and luck, or even just sometimes the dice want you to win something or lose something. That all tells a great overall story, but the risk of death is the thing, or losing that character is what makes it all fun, right? And on the same hand, when you would, like this for me, way back when, like preteen years, you have a meat grinder dungeon and then you just build characters and throw them at it and see who survives the gauntlet. Right. So I wanted something with that sort of feel, right? It wanted to feel like a meat grinder, but I also want it to be a Pathfinder second edition adventure. So it can't technically be a meat grinder, right? Because of how strictly balanced the game is. It sounded like a fun challenge.
So talk to me about the setting and the premise of this adventure.
So the narrative behind the entire thing, the premise of the adventure is that the heroes of the adventure are normal people. You're not folks on Galarian. You're somebody from modern day Earth. Or even if you want to maybe play an alien race or an elf or a dwarf, find yourself from a modern day equivalent society on a different planet in a different solar system. But the point is that you have a normal everyday person that is pulled out of their life and put into this tower. And the tower pits challenges against the people that they pull in. And it's designed to feel like a portal fantasy adventure. Do you know what portal fantasy is?
No.
Very
like the game Portal?
No. Like the genre. It's like a subgenre of fantasy. Portal fantasy is where a person from a mundane world stumbles through a portal of some kind to go to a place that's magical and extravagant. And it goes...
So Narnia, basically.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a very common literary device throughout our history. Alice in Wonderland, Chronicles of Narnia. Some people would argue that Harry Potter is like a touch portal fantasy because of the platform, right? The platform to get to Hogwarts. Fantasia has bits of portal fantasy sprinkled throughout it, but it's a literary device, and that's common and is especially big right now because of isekai anime is a very common right now is kind of a flooded. There's a deluge of this type of anime, but it's where your main character either dies or gets hit by a truck or gets reincarnated or summoned into another world where they have like stat sheets in front of them and they can see their strength and their agility and they get levels that they gain. And it's nobody else in this magical world they've come to can see any of these things, but they can, and they can see their numbers go up as they, tread through this magical world. So because that's such a big trope right now, I wanted to like not capitalize on it, but like that's a fun type of story to tell. It really is.
You're being inspired by it.
Yeah, and not only is it a fun type of story to tell or consume, tabletop RPG is already in itself sort of a portal fantasy, right?
Right.
You're in your
that's a good,
real world and taking your imagination into a magical
descend into
fantasy.
the basement into the magical world.
Exactly, into the magical world. So I felt this like it felt like this meta narrative on top of a meta narrative, and the fact that I was going to be writing it and then podcasting it and recording it, I'm like, let's just stack all this meta shit just on top of each other and let's just have fun with it. So that's kind of what it is. There's actually a story. And it's more than just the trope. And I've I have my rough outline of what the story is. And right now what I'm doing is as we play, we record every other week. I have the level of play that they're on already completely worked out, maps built and the whole 9 yards, right? And they help me fill in some details as we're playing. I'm kind of a pantser GM when I homebrew, but I like having an outline to like reach out to in the worst case scenario and I can't come up with something. So that's how I write it all. Kind of going off on a tangent here. I answered a question you didn't ask.
No. No, that was those were the questions I was asking.
Oh,
you
good.
were giving me. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I was going to ask like when you know, because I'm running a homebrew campaign also in Pathfinder, which is different than the way most people play the APs. I find in Pathfinder versus 5e where everyone homebrewed.
That goes kind of back to what I was mentioning earlier on, where when you're putting so much on the game master, why don't they just do it themselves anyways? They're already doing it all themselves anyways. Even though I highly encourage people to homebrew in 2nd edition, it's insanely easy to do. It's gratifying to do.
Yes.
And there's so many cool things to play with in the system.
100% agree with you. I've really enjoyed it. There are a lot of details. I'm not really, I'm not interested in designing. For example, the Pantheon of Gods.
Sure.
We're just keeping Galarians, right? So there's aspects you can steal or borrow from, right, that are there, right, that you can just pull.
Absolutely.
You could pull the Mwangi Expanse into your game and just call it something else, or even keep it the Mwangi Expanse. Who cares, right? But
it's your game.
One thing,
right?
So I'm curious because I've been running a homebrew here for the podcast, which I know we're running. I think I promised you an hour. I think we're gonna break.
I
through
fully
that.
expected this was going to be a 2.5 hour endeavor. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
I have a tendency to do that to these shows.
And your hot dish isn't ready yet, so we're good.
No, yeah, I still got time.
I got a date. I'm going to Ariana. Have you ever been to Ariana Kebab?
No.
It's so good. St. Louis Park. It's in this like little strip mall next to an abandoned Pizza Hut.
Oh gosh, that sounds like one of those secret hole in the wall restaurants.
It's a portal. It is.
Yeah.
It's a portal restaurant. It is the best Middle Eastern food I have ever had in my life. Yeah, so if you're highly recommend it.
I'll take your recommendation and I'll give you one in return. Have you tried Red Sea in Minneapolis?
I have not.
Red Sea Ethiopian it's an Ethiopian specialty cuisine restaurant and it is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, perfect. I've got a new place. Woo.
There you go.
Yeah, so I was curious. So I'm homebrewing this too, right? So it's interesting to me how to construct it. And I just wanted to, before I say anything, like how I'm doing it, I'm curious. You say you have a rough outline.
Yes.
Do you have particular encounters you plan to do? I assume you have like NPCs that exist in the world that are responsible for stuff that you have to slay. Like, what is it? What are your existing pillars of story in your world right now?
So the setting is the first bit. The actual setting where the game takes place is the looming tower. It's the tower that they're in, right? So I've kind of written myself into purposefully have written myself into a box in that regard, right? There are 10 floors to this tower. Every floor is a different environment. And as the players progress through it, they will come across different things. The first floor, for example, or I should say floor 0, it was the sewers. So they saw very classical RPG tropes like giant rats, giant centipedes, pitfall traps, spike traps, those sorts of things. The next floor they went to was the forest, a dark forest. I called it the Forest of Familiarity. And that's where they came across things like a dark and spooky graveyard with zombies and tricksome fae and giant ants that tried to carry them away. So when I'm writing for this, what I decide is, from an encounter writing standpoint, what's the environment I'm writing in? What's the goal of the place that they're in right now? So like, when I say goal, I mean like you have a backdrop to where a party is, and you want that backdrop to lend to the narrative as well as be flavoring for the little things that they're doing too, right? So for me, when I decided that the forest was going to be where they were going to be, then it's like, okay, what kind of creatures dwell in the forest? You just pull up a list, slap them to the side, and just have them handy. Okay, then I literally go to TV tropes and I search dark forest, and I just look at what literary tropes exist about dark forests, right? And then I try to take what I see and either get ideas from it and spin it myself, or sometimes tropes are good enough as is, right? So that's how, and then I take my list of appropriate, environmentally appropriate enemies, and then I start building from those tropes or ideas that I've gathered from those tropes, and I plug it all into a spreadsheet. And once I hit 1,000 XP, I'm like, moving on, doing the next one, right?
Oh God, I love the level building and
it's so nice.
Maybe this is giving it away a little bit too much,
Sure.
but is the goal of each level to find the way out to the next level?
In fact, the entire goal of the tower is you're here against your will, find your way out. It's not presented to you as a find your way out. It's presented to you as a reach the top and you can have whatever your heart desires, right? And most of the guys are like, we want to get the fuck out of here. All right, fine. We'll go to the top of your stupid tower, right?
Yes.
So yeah, the goal of each floor is to get to the next, they're called ascension points. So they get to the next ascension point to reach the next environment. So in again, kind of getting back to how I've written it, since I have my overall plot, right, my storyline written down in my head, I have an outline for it, but I won't show you. But
yeah, no.
But
Please don't.
It's one of those things where, because I know where I want it to go, every place that I plug in at, I want to contribute to a standard standard story arc. When you're looking at a book and you're like introduction, inciting incident, rising action, that I want my adventure to look like that at the end of the day. And when I'm plugging in the fine details in between, I'm thinking to myself, okay, is this still rising action? Does this feel too much like climax in this moment? But of course, because it's a long form game, you still want to have small arcs with small climactic moments as well. So it's about you building them all into each other and kind of nestling them in. Yeah, that's how I look at it.
That's cool. All right, here's a big question for you. How has podcasting changed your game?
It has unintentionally and subconsciously, in a lot of instances, changed my players. Me as well. I go through more effort in making sure that my voices match between NPCs than I used to, for example. Before I just pull out whatever. I
keep a little file
voice.
of my voices in a
That's exactly what I do. That's exactly what you should do. It's helped.
I still get them wrong.
Oh, same. Constantly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it has pushed me to both do more for the games, while at the same time still being the fun game. You know what I mean?
One of the reasons we decided, or I wanted to do a podcast. I mean, I came out of I assume you have do you have a theater background? Is that right? Does that sound? What kind of?
It's fair enough.
Sort of real life artistic. Yeah.
So I did theater all through high school and college. Met my wife in theater. She was a stage manager, and I was like, "Ooh, lady who gets things done." Then I dropped out of college to start a rock band. That didn't go anywhere, but I sang in that and did that for about 4 years, and then had my son. I love music. Music is a really big part of my life.
Okay.
Not necessarily that I'm a particularly talented composer, or even necessarily I wouldn't even consider myself a talented vocalist, but it's still a major part of my life. Yeah. So I would say that's, if you're looking for like where the creativity stems from, that would be it.
So I came out of this as a writer. So I have, an MFA in creative fiction. I've been writing for years. I've been a newspaper writer, magazine writer, whatever. Anything that someone will give you money to write.
Yeah.
I will write it.
Yeah. I have a friend who does like product description writing. There's like, what's the term for, you get paid per word, right?
You get paid by the word.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know what rates or if any are any good. Or
They're terrible.
yeah, I'm sure they are.
They're terrible rates. It's a terrible. It's great. It's fine. I made my life writing. I made a living writing, which is amazing, right? Nobody does that. I did it. I'm very proud of it.
Congratulations.
Whatever. So
if you like doing it, that's the important part, right?
Well, the stuff I write, whatever, you get the stuff you get paid to write and the stuff that you want to write are two totally different
Okay, there you
things.
go.
I mean,
Keep it separate.
Right?
Keep it separate.
Yeah. So anyways, I came through this through writing. And when I'm like, oh, I want to do a podcast, I'm like, why do I want to do a podcast, right? What is it? What is the urge to like record yourself and to put it out there? Like, it's not, I mean, it's about fame and money, sure. But, right? And the chicks in podcasting are crazy.
Yeah, the podcasting chicks that I pull constantly. They're falling out of my pockets, Jay. I don't know what to do with myself.
So the answer I came up with for myself was putting on a show like makes everyone do their best, right? Like they really, like.
Oh, I wouldn't disagree with that assessment at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I've talked with a couple of people who are like, I started the podcast because my group of people would never finish a campaign from beginning to end. And we figured if we forced ourselves to record and release it, we would have to, right?
Right.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying. You get the best out of everybody at the table when you put a microphone in front of their face.
And that's definitely been the case. Like the players are amazing. I actually had, I run multiple games and all that stuff. I had tryouts. I had auditions for this podcast.
Dang, you did.
Yeah. I did, yeah. So I rented out some room in this game store and we did these improv games. I just did like a 2D6 system.
Oh, right on.
Just, roll 2 dice. If it's a 7, there's a mixed result. If it's a 10, it's a success, whatever. Mm-hmm. And just saw how everyone got along and stuff. So the group that I ended up with, though, were people that I ran in the same circles anyways. They were already friends, right? Like you want that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like what your table has, this chemistry of people who actually like each other.
Well, chemistry is more important to these shows than anything, especially when you get more than 2 people on a microphone. Getting people to be able to just visually differentiate voices, character, personalities, what's going on, not easy.
Well, one thing I have noticed about creating the podcast is that the fact that you're recording and presenting to an audience creates a kind of tension, especially, I'd say I don't feel it, but I'm sure I do. Like you don't want to mess up the rules. You don't want to sound like an idiot. Your character has to be cool. All these things. Mm-hmm. There are pressures to not you're presenting yourself, a version of yourself to the world.
Oh, 100% you are.
One thing I've noticed is that my players hang on to their characters with both hands. Like they're terrified of losing them.
Oh, really?
Right? Because they mean so much to them. Yeah.
So here's a question. I've got a barometer for this. What's the longest amount of time they've spent in front of a door discussing whether or not they're going to open it, how they're going to open it, et cetera, et cetera?
Game time or
real time?
real world time. Yeah. No. 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you're not in the throes of complete indecisiveness. I've seen people take an hour to open a door before.
Yeah. And doors are hard. They're a big barrier for sure. They're, if they don't see a trap, they're like, there's got to be a trap on this, right?
Yep. Do you guys do secret checks or do you do it the way we do it?
Yeah, we do. I do secret. So for exploration, what I do is at the beginning of the mode, when the encounter's over and they're ready to move on, I say, okay, what are you guys doing during exploration? I have them do one roll, and then that's it. I just keep that roll until the next
encounter. Not a bad idea.
If they want to stop and do something else, I roll. We have them roll specifically for that thing, but we keep for a stealth check. They keep that. I don't have them roll over again. Okay, so here's my theory about that. The more you roll, the more likely they're going to fail.
Yes.
So there's no sense to having them do more than one roll during that period. You get that roll. They don't know what it is. Uh-huh. I will tell them information based on what they rolled.
Yeah.
Which helps me. I can plan ahead of time. Okay, they're coming to this room, seeing this as a DC 25. The highest perception check was a 20, so they're not going to see this. They will see this. They will see that. The investigation nature check, they'll come into this room and they'll see a plant. They'll know what it is because they hit the DC. All those things I know ahead of time. I also will describe the room, and if they want to, say, I want to take a look at this. Okay, roll me a if they've been investigating nature, go ahead and roll the perception.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as they leave the room again, they're back to nature. And then, of course, when initiative happens, boom, you just use the skill associated with their exploration activity.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I really love exploration. I think is my favorite part of Pathfinder.
Oh, that's super interesting.
Yeah, it's for a GM, right? Because you get to flex your descriptive powers.
Sure.
Right, during exploration.
Yeah.
I guess you do in combat too.
Well, yeah. Well, to an extent. I mean, combat's tough because you don't want to overdo it.
Yep.
From a narrative standpoint.
Combat is so hard in podcasting.
You want to make sure that it's still visually appealing, but you also don't want to say that, your sword guts the monster and they fall dead for the 568th time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, how that expression happens, it's best not to think about it, I think, from my standpoint. If I feel like if things are too flat, I'll throw in a description. Just to kind of liven it up a little bit. Yeah.
Well, your players will trample, your guys will trample all over all that stuff.
There was a question we were answering.
No, I was just wondering how the podcast changed how you play. You know what I mean?
That's right. How we do recording and things like that. You were describing what your people had. Gosh, I would say, I think a lot of that has to do with your table, right? I mean, we haven't discussed it, you and I, yet, but I know I generally like to beat the session 0 drum from the top of the mountains anytime I can to lay out those sorts of expectations of what you want from the game and the narrative, which in this case also includes a podcast narrative, and what the players want from it as well. I don't do this, but actually I know one of my podcasting buddies, Adam, from the STF network, the Strange Table Fellows network. Adam he calls them Come to Jesus talks with his cast every couple of months where they all talk.
That's good.
They kind of just revisit the session 0 topics again, right? Hey, this is where, when we started this, where we all thought things were going to go. This is where, tell me what you were thinking at the beginning. Where's your head at now? And what do you think you want moving forward? And I think another thing to think about too is, I don't do this with my players because they don't like it, but I've certainly done this in the past, right? Where I will say, okay, now think about, what positive development, what positive character arc, like your character from 0 to hero, what does it look like, right? In your head.
Yep.
Okay, now I want you to think about, what does that look like from 0 to villain? Now you tell me what's more interesting, and we'll touch back on this conversation again in a few months, and to see, like, okay, here's what your character has done since we had this conversation last. Where do you think they're still going? Are they still going the way you thought they were going to, or is it time to make a shift in how you're approaching things? You know what I mean? And some of that can be getting them comfortable with the idea of, their character is, yes, theirs, but it's also their tool to tell a story.
Yep.
And if they're holding the tool too close, then they're not taking the hammer out of the sheath to hammer the nail. They're just staring at the nail.
Now, role play wise, they've all been amazing. We have really good chemistry with the role play, outside of the stuff that's happening on the edge of the game. So that part is going really well.
Oh, is it just game related?
Yeah, and a lot of it is, some of the players are new to the system. It's a lot more dangerous than 5e, right?
Oh, God, it's way more dangerous.
5e, it's almost impossible to kill a player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, especially at low levels.
They got their asses kicked by some cinder rats recently, so they're like, oh,
Was
man.
it the beginner's box?
What's that?
Was it the beginner's? Oh, no, you're doing homebrew. That's right. Yeah, the cinder
yeah.
racks pop up in the beginner's box, too, and also spark tons of information
that's a tough
tons
battle,
of discussion online about the difficulty of that battle.
I ran a beginner box for some online players just to learn the system. I had a guy in there who got totally immolated by this thing, but there's a little pool of water in there. He just dropped in it. Mm-hmm. Fire goes out, right? Because that's one of the things that, in the Game Master Guide it says, like, if they do something like put water on it, it's out. And it was like this brilliant solution using the environment, and they nerfed the encounter. I love the creativity of players when they figure out puzzles and strategy like that. I also love when they totally mess it up and like botch it and make a
Because
mess
that's
of
what we're talking about. Good stories here, right? Do the heroes always succeed? No, sometimes they fuck it up, right?
I don't have any other questions for you.
You don't think so?
I think that's it. I think so. I mean, did you have any other thing you want to tout for the min-max universe?
Promotion and stuff. This is part of me being. We talked about a little bit earlier about how it's all still just me playing a game. I always forget about the promotional marketing stuff of this stuff.
How can people find your podcast?
Yeah, so if you're going to any podcatcher, it's MNMAXED, MNMAXED. We're currently running through releasing episodes for Bloodlords, as I mentioned before. I kind of gave the spiel in the middle. I'm also writing and releasing, not all at once. I didn't discuss my release schedule. If you're interested in what I'm doing for Looming Tower, you can go to MNMAXED has a Patreon. Again, just same spelling at the Patreon website, and all of the episodes as we're releasing them for the Looming Tower are free. You don't need a subscription or anything like that. Anyone can listen to the show. If you would like to support us through the Patreon, then you get to participate in weekly polls, deciding who gets hero points at the end of sessions. I'm also taking characters as submissions to be included into the story, and we've got one in already. I've got another coming in shortly. I have a lot of...
What's their name, Tyler?
Oh, yeah. Good old Dragon D's Nuts is the first listener. I have to really make clear here. That was a listener submitted entry. Yeah. And then all the listeners voted on it.
Dude, I'm on the callback right now. I'm in Extinction Curse. There was a D's Nuts joke made about the Wizard's Dragon.
Of course there was.
In episode 90. So this player is doing a callback to the Extinction Curse.
We're such children. But yeah, you can support us there. And we do some stuff on YouTube, but not very often. If you want to go check out the YouTube channel and see what's there, I occasionally upload things when I feel like it. But you know how that goes.
Don't forget your Discord channel. Man.
Oh, the Discord. You can come and hang out at the Discord, although it's kind of a secret at this point. If you like the show, then you can find the Discord in the show notes. You can come hang out with us. Yeah. There's a little bit of a barrier of entry there. Not really. You just have to try.
Not at all, man. Not at all. I love your show.
Thank you, Jay.
It's so much fun. You guys have this manic energy. I love it, And it's like you're galloping through Extinction Curse compared to some of these other podcasts, which they do the role.
Yeah, same thing.
You guys are just slamming out the
same
combats.
thing with Bloodlords. We
awesome.
like using the whole medium as we're here to fight monsters, and then we tell funny stories in between.
Well, I've got you on quick down now for maybe doing an odd jobs. Maybe if we're doing a Starfighter or something.
Hit me up. I love it.
One game I'd love to play is Mothership. I'd love to play a Mothership, some Mothership stuff.
I have never played
creepy
Mothership.
outer space
I don't
stuff.
think.
Yeah, neither have I.
That would be tons of fun. I've recently played
Why
Traveler.
not?
Traveler is tons of fun.
Traveler's fun.
I will say
I
the
have
character
tried that at a
creation was
con,
the
but
most
it was rough.
Was it really? Oh, totally depends on the group.
It's so old school and all the skills,
Yeah, it is.
like it's difficult to, and that character creation. I know people love like how you roll this elaborate history of your character and they could die during it, whatever. I didn't find it. I found it confining.
Really?
Right? It wasn't liberating.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I'm stuck with these roles, and really, there's only. It's maybe I'm spoiled by Pathfinder.
It's okay.
But there are only limited options to choose
Oh, you're
from,
absolutely
even though it's
right
this
about
elaborate
that.
rolling
Yeah,
scheme.
when it comes from a tabletop RPG perspective, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to out myself as a little bit of a hypocrite, maybe, by saying some of my favorite storytelling is done within the creativity that happens inside of heavy constraints. And I think that's why I liked,
like the sonnet.
yeah,
right?
and I think that's why I liked Traveler. Although, admittedly, I haven't gone back since I played it the one time, so maybe I didn't like it that much.
Did you just do one session, or was it?
It was a short thing. Again, though, plug Strange Table Fellows again. They have a friend show that they do, and I think we did 6 sessions for that one, and it was a fun time. But again, never gone back to it.
I feel like that one's really dependent on the players. making it fun to do. I did get on a Humble Bundle. I'm gonna shout out to Humble Bundle for having amazing deals on
Pretty
RPG
constantly.
systems. I got Pyrex of Drinax, the module that's supposed to be the best written module in all of TTRPGs, which is a traveler. A traveler
is it available?
module.
Like a PDF? You got a PDF copy of it? You should send me
I
a
got a
link
PDF
of that,
con-
because I've heard stories of that, but I've never read it.
Sure. Yeah, and I was like, oh man, I want to turn this into a Pathfinder naval campaign.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You'd have to rewrite it. Again, it's, Traveler isn't a leveling system the way that
Right.
Pathfinder is, so you'd have to railroad a little bit to get them to go to places and then build level appropriate
Encounters for the
throughout those
times.
spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's a well thought out universe. It's got one thing I really liked about it was it has like your spaceship can like run out of gas or crash or hit a meteorite and you end up stranded on an asteroid.
and then that's all part of the narrative
as a random
too.
event.
Yeah.
That's all part of the system. Yeah. So things like that are really cool. Yeah.
I love things like a catastrophic failure and the side quests that take place because of it is always fun. In my opinion, not everyone loves them though.
I actually wanted to do a naval campaign for the show. That was my first choice because I worked on a tall ship for a little while.
You did?
And I love like all the intricacies of the ropes and the sails and stuff just for a year. But I did get to shoot cannon, which was cool.
It sounds like fun, to be honest.
Yeah, that's another podcast episode. But the players wanted this one. So we're playing like a kind of a gritty superhero story, like like the Defenders
Oh,
or
sure,
something,
yeah.
like a early
Yeah.
Silver Age Marvel comic stuff. Yeah. So Daredevil, players with powers, but not, they're not invulnerable. There are things that are stronger out there in the neighborhood. So
You're street level heroes.
yeah. But naval campaign is something I've always had an eye on because I love the idea of exploration.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I was about to suggest Skulls and Shackles to you, but that's not really exploration necessarily.
No. I'm listening to the Bestow Curse version of that.
Oh,
right
a hit
now,
with
so.
hideous laughter.
Yeah.
So,
Hideous Laughter. Yeah,
Griff does great work. I love listening to his GMing.
He's amazing,
I don't know if he's GMing Skulls and Shackles. I haven't listened to that show.
He is.
He is. Okay, that doesn't.
They're on
surprise me.
hiatus because they had just had a child.
Yes, him
But
and Haley
yeah,
did.
he's DMing that.
Yeah,
Yeah, another great podcast.
absolutely.
So you got any other? I know you don't listen to many, but you got any other podcast
Recommendations? Oh gosh, there's so many that I know, but like from personal listening experience, it's always hard to say. The ones I enjoy, I like STF and Friends, or I like STF, Strange Tale of Fellows, and Hideous Laughter. And Adam and Griff and I have always had a good time hanging out, and they're great guys. They don't play like MNMAXED plays. Hideous Laughter is a very story-driven, digging deep, chomping scenery sort of pod. Strange Table Fellows is also similar in that regard too, but
yeah, they're more direct influences, I think, on our show than MNMAXED.
oh yeah. Well, and if you're going for a story-driven thing, I already know you're not influenced by us, and that's fine. I'm all right with that. But another one that's fun is another Minnesota one, 25 North. They do some of the third-party Paizo content over at Battle Zoo. I think the Indigo Isles adventure. So that's fun too. Yeah. Yeah, and then, obviously you're here listening to Hot Dish, but you don't need me to tell you that.
The Hot Dish. All right, man. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. I appreciate it. I'm so glad I reached out to you.
Me too.
Anyone wants to go to Discord and chat up Tyler, he will answer back to randoms on the internet.
I say hello to bots in my Discord all the time.
Yeah.
All right. It was nice hanging out
It's the future. Yeah. See you, man.
Have a good one.
Hot dish, hot dish, hot dish. Tater tots.
We move through the blocks when the sun drops low. Black mask, steel hearts, that's how we roll. Every corner got a devil trying to claim his space, but we break those axes, keep them off our base. Third person view, but we living it real. Street prophets with a purpose make the wicked ones kneel. Fire breathing demons try to torch our hood. We stand as the barrier between evil and good. Community first, the code we live by. War protect us to the day that we die. No capes on our backs, but we heroes just the same. Fighting in the alleys where nobody knows our name.
We the ones who hold the line when darkness falls and stars don't shine.
Vigilante justice in the dead of night, breaking demon weapons by the street light. Every soul we save is worth the risk we take. Heavy is the burden for the people's sake. They don't see us coming, but they feel the change. Mysterious guardians keeping safe their range. From the projects to the avenue, we make our rounds. Silent as the wind, deadly as the sounds of axes hitting pavement when we break their grip. Demons lose their power when we make them slip. War defenders, that's what we claim to be. Fighting for the innocent, keeping our city free.
We the ones who hold the line when darkness falls and stars don't shine.